Welcome back, it's Doug MPA. Modern women who become successful are having to face not all, but some of the same trials and tribulations that successful men have traditionally had to face, especially when it comes to marriage, family planning, and having children. This article says, I insisted on a prenup with my future husband. I make more than him and want to protect my assets. Gee, imagine that. The double standard is sickening because every time a guy talks about a prenup, what happens, guys? All the shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right comes out. And this idiot actually signed the prenup, you guys. Why did he do that? Why? So we're going to get into this article. Before I do that, like the video, subscribe, drop a comment. I really appreciate it. It shows you support me, what I'm doing over here. And let's get into this. It says, Ashley Mason insisted on a prenup to protect her business and assets before marriage. Mason believes contracts are essential in both business and personal relationships. The couple spent a year drafting the prenup, ensuring mutual protection of their assets. She says, I started my marketing agency in 2016. I worked hard to build it from scratch and told myself that if I got married, I wanted to protect this asset at all costs. Guys, follow along the double standard. How much shame, insult, and guilt would a guy get if he wrote this article? I heard stories from other entrepreneurs about how they built a business, got married with a prenup, and later divorced. Some had to hand over money and partial business owners to their ex-spouse. It's how it's been for the past, 60, 70 years, guys? I don't know why this sounds new to her. I spent so much time building my business that I couldn't imagine losing some of it in a divorce. I promised myself that when I met my future partner, we'd sign a prenup before we got married. She's like, getting a prenup before marriage was a non-negotiable for me. After meeting my fiance in 2018, we both talked about prenups several times before getting engaged. You hear stories of people being offended by the idea of a prenup, but my fiance didn't care at all. He's ambitious and works for his dad's plumbing business. He was totally fine with it. Guys, do you think he should have signed this prenup? Yes or no? Now, there are certain people that watch my channel that say, a man shouldn't get anything after marriage. It's kind of below a man to take from a woman. It is 2024, guys. Women want equality. Give it to them. If you marry a successful woman without a prenup, and you leave her, guys, you're one of the 20% of men who divorce. Take all she has. Take all of it. Because I believe contracts are essential in business and relationships. It might not sound romantic to compare love to business, but when you're about to enter a legal marriage with someone, I believe it's best to have a contract outlining worst case scenario terms. Men have been saying this for the past 30, 40 years, but women still, oh my God, you want me to sign a prenup? Do you not trust me? Do you not love me? What about love? What about romance? If the man acts right, and respects his queen, he won't have to worry about her leaving him in divorce. So I would say the same thing back to this woman. Before I work with the client, we sign a contract that protects us if something goes wrong. I would never do business with someone without that legal protection because it could end in a costly lawsuit. That's why that's why it makes sense from a personal perspective too. I have more assets than just my business and money in the bank accounts. I often hear people say they don't need a prenup because they don't have any assets except their cash or investment accounts. That's not the case for me. With my own money, I've purchased assets like a car and a 16-acre property. While I'm excited to share my money and assets with my partner, notice how she says partner and not husband, guys. That's a big red flag.
Jesus H. Christ.
And plan to split our bills and expenses, I still want to protect my assets if something happens. The only way to do that legally is by having a detailed prenup. Plus, a prenup isn't one-sided. It protects my fiance too, and he can add in what assets he wants to protect. So we spent a year working on our prenup. My fiance and I got engaged in November 2022 and set a wedding date for October of 2024. 7 months after getting engaged, I successfully started the prenup process. We first audited all our assets in and out of our bank accounts. For example, my fiance owns a truck, snowmobiles, and jet skis. We listed all his items and their valuables. Then we discussed how we'd split things if we broke up. We decided what's mine is mine and what's his is his. Anything we own jointly, like the house we own together, we'll will be split 50-50. We didn't disagree on anything during this process. Now, here's the problem with this, guys. Let's say he takes over his dad's plumbing company and makes more than her. They have kids. She gets emotionally charged up, gets mad at him for some reason. Maybe he steps out or does something to cross her. She can still take this prenup that she insisted to have signed to the judge and say that she didn't understand what it meant, guys. These prenups are not concrete, and women will get emotional on the way out the door and try to fight this. That is the problem. That's why you have to be careful with this stuff, guys. You have to be. My fiance decided not to get his own attorney. That's a mistake. While I chose to hire a lawyer, my fiance decided to not hire his own. He felt that since we were on the same page, it didn't make sense for him to pay for an attorney when he was willing to sign the prenup that my lawyer and I would draft. This is allowed in Massachusetts. However, my lawyer did share that if we were to get a divorce, the judge might rule more in his favor. I was okay with that risk. See, there it is. He can say, well, I didn't have a lawyer. I didn't understand what I was signing. There it is. So he should keep that in his back pocket. I didn't have a lawyer. I didn't know what I was signing. And take everything. I found a lawyer through a colleague's recommendation. Over the past year, we've had about 5 meetings. There's a lot of back and forth because our assets changed during that time. After every meeting, I share with my fiance what the lawyer and I talked about or added to the prenup draft. As of July 11th of 2024, the prenup is signed and notarized, which makes it final. I paid around $5,000 for the prenup, but view that as an investment in my future. See, as an investment in my future, and she's about to get married. My future when she's getting married. Guys, listen to how these women talk. You understand what they're about subtly through their language. She's still thinking about her when she's marrying this guy. My fiance offered to split the cost of the prenup with me, but I felt it wasn't fair for him to pay. Since I drafted the prenup more favorably, I thought it was right to take on the cost. My prenup cost around $5,000. It might seem like a lot, but I was happy to spend a little bit of money now to potentially save in the long run. The most complicated part was figuring out alimony. At first, I was set on not giving any alimony, which is financial support that allowed your ex-spouse to maintain the lifestyle they had while married to you. My attorney advised me that if a judge sees that in your prenup, it can be seen as unfair to the other party. We decided to include alimony terms in the prenup since I make around 40% more than my partner a year. My fiance and I agreed on a tiered system based on the number of years we've been together. For example, if we've been together for 5 years, there wouldn't be alimony, but at 10, a certain percentage would be given and so on. Prenups aren't just for rich people. There's a stigma around getting a prenup that if you get one, it's because you're super rich. So that's not true. But at 27, nobody I know has a prenup. I couldn't turn to friends for advice, so I researched independently. Guys, the stigma behind it is a man asking a woman for a prenup. That is the stigma. Women feel perfectly fine with doing this because they're protecting their assets, but people don't ask women the same questions about a prenup that they ask about men. Like I said earlier, does she really love this guy? How can she not want her significant other protected? Does she think that it's not going to work out? Is she already planning an exit? These are all the stupid questions that women ask men when they say they want to get a prenup. We're just a few weeks away from our wedding, and now that the prenup is signed, I feel like we can focus on what's next for us. Eventually, we want to have kids and buy more houses together. We have a strong relationship. We're entering marriage knowing we're on the same page and will be in the future. Guys, I'm going to say it one last time. Give women the equality that they want. And if you divorce a woman that has a lot of money and anyone asks why you're taking her for alimony and child support, tell them, I was there for her. What would she be without me? What would a strong behind every strong woman is a strong man. I was there for her. I helped her become the person she is today. I'm entitled to that money. Women set the blueprint, guys. Remember, one of the best quotes I've ever heard is women reset the social rules in the 20th century, and the 21st century is going to be men responding to it. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Like the video, subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one.